Welcome to my updated stem Nightblade bow gank build Silentium. This time we kind of feature a lot of poison abilities, so we are focusing on poison damage. Something else really important, at the end of the video, the last part, I will show you off like what mechanics you should be aware of and what combos you need to know to actually get good kills on enemies. Now let's get to the normal stuff first. So if we buff ourselves on our bow bar, you see the stats: 34k stem, 22k health, 1.6k stem recovery. If you use the relentless focus, almost 1.7k, a lot of crit, nice weapon damage for bow, and we actually have 2k, almost 2k crit resistance, which is really high. So 22k health, is it low? Not really for a bow gank build, because we should avoid getting into melee fights, okay? Anyway, we are using the Shadow Mundus Stone to get increased critical strike damage. If you want to get more stamina recovery, which I don't think you need, but in case you have less CP, you could use the Serpent Mundus Stone to get more stamina recovery. Buff food wise, use either this one, which gives you health and stamina, or this one, which gives you health, stamina and magicka. Magicka can be nice because of support abilities. Then the potions I recommend using are those here. They give you stamina, they give you a perma speed buff, which doesn't go away when you use abilities, so you can run really fast, and CC immunity. So in case somebody's trying to stun you, you can use a potion, and you're so super fast you can't get stunned. Most people are really slow these days because they use sword and board, heavy armor, so they're so slow. So it's really easy to actually reposition yourself to get the advantage. Now what gear do we use? So we have 5-piece marksman, 5-piece Morak Tong, and 1-piece Krag. So take a look at the spreadsheet there. Try to get as much impen as possible because the crit resistance is nice. Well fitted also works because it kind of gives you like reduces the cost of sprinting and roll dodging, which can be nice. But I recommend using impenetrable. Now how should you get the gear? First off, get Morak Tong. Armor parts are probably the easiest ones to get. Then after you have your Morak Tong together, go check out for marksman. Both of those sets are like buyable from the guild stores. There is a lot of marksmen, okay, like it's really easy to get. That's why I say first get the more difficult armor to get, and then go get marksman. Krag drops in Fungal Grotto, last boss in the normal version, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Now in terms of weapons, you want to have a sharpened bow with a poison damage enchantment. I will get to that later, why poison. Sharpened is the best trait. There is so many heavy armor people that have high resistances, so you need extra penetration. Second bar, we use a two-hander, so here you either can use a defending or a powered one. Defending is nice in case somebody drops an ulti on you. You could swap to your two-hander bar, block, you get extra resistances that don't get a lot of damage. Powered is nice in case you want more healing. I just didn't have anything else. Then again, it's difficult to get the Morak Tong pieces, but rather easy to get marksman weapons. So try to get Morak Tong armor and then like marksman jewelry and weapon. That's what I recommend. Now next thing about the sets. So this one, the 5-piece bonus, you get 8% more damage on enemies, and you get 5% cost reduction on all your stem skills, not only bow skills, on everything, which is really nice. Then Morak Tong, 10% extra damage from like to all our poison abilities. This is really strong. We use weapon damage glyphs on all our jewelry, and make sure they are robust. I think you only can get it in robust. Poison damage enchant here, and on the second one you can use whatever you want really. Make sure to have stamina, everything enchanted in stamina. I will also have easier to get gear on my website in case you can't find Morak Tong gear, but there is plenty of. Champion points: 99 mighty, 88 piercing, 87 mooncalf, 100 warlord, 60 hardy, 60 elemental defender, and 57 thick skin. So a really easy champion point setup. You can play around with it if you want, but might is really important, and the extra penetration is also really strong. Now in terms of skills, so let's start with our support bar. Rally, one of our main heals. The longer it holds, the stronger the burst he'll get. So if I wait like 20 seconds and then I reactivate it, I get a huge heal. It also has small healing ticks. Then piercing mark, so this has pro and cons. First off, it debuffs the enemy's spell resistance by 5, spell and armor resistance by 5.2k. So you will deal a lot of extra damage, but if you use this, the enemy will of course know that somebody's around. So you need to be careful when you use it. Resolving vigor, the next main heal, like if you're running from something, make sure to keep this up because it's just a really nice heal. Radiant Mage Light, so we use this first off if somebody tries to gank you. It's basically impossible because this one reduces the damage by 50%. But the main reason why we use it is because of the Mage's Guild passive here. So every time I activate the Mage's Guild ability, I get an Empower buff, which holds for 5 seconds, and you will do 20% more damage on your next attack, which is really fucking strong. Shuffle, really handy skill to avoid damage, 20% dodge chance, just OP. Aggressive Horn. Now this one, most people underestimate it, and I will show you afterwards why. Because with this skill you get 30% increased critical strike damage, which is insane. So we have this 30%. We are a Wood Elf, completely forgot about that, so we get like 21% stem rec, more max stem, and we get 10% more damage done out of stealth. So it's just insane, and we have other modifiers like the Radiant Mage Light. It's just huge. Now bow bar, relentless focus, gives us minor berserk, so we do 8% more damage, which is a lot. Then we also, like after 4 light attacks, you can you get the spectral bow, which deals a ton of damage, but usually the enemy's dead before. But we mainly use it to get 8% damage. Poison injection, really strong, like damage over time, especially if the enemy is low. Lethal arrow, so this is our main ability we use. You see it has a 1.1 second cast time. It deals a ton of damage. It doesn't look like, because we have a lot of percentage modifiers, you actually don't really see how hard it can hit. But let's just, when I buff myself with Empower, we already sit at 17k, and that isn't with the extra 10% from Morak Tong, and that isn't without the 8% from Marksman. So there is a lot of extra damage incoming. We're using Shadowy Disguise, so why do we use this one? You see, your next attack within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike. Now afterwards I will show you how you have to handle this skill. You need to activate it at the right time, otherwise it will not work. Evil Hunter is only here to get the Major Savagery, increasing our weapon critical. Now here we have Flawless Dawnbreaker, just to increase our weapon damage by 8%. You see, while slotted your weapon damage increased by 5%. Now, why do I say 8? because of this passive. Increases weapon damage by 3% for each fight skill ability slot. So 1, 2. So we have 11% extra weapon damage with those two skills, which is really nice. If you want, you could use the new bow ultimate. What do you need to know about the ultimate? The problem is it's a channel, so you can't do anything else while using it. So it's not really the best option for a gank build. That's why I prefer using aggressive horn. This is probably one of the most underestimated skills to use as a gank build, because you get max magicka, max health, max stam, and you do 30% increased crit damage. And because we use Shadowy Disguise, we get guaranteed crit damage, believe me. So that's the setup. You could just make sure to adapt like the build to your needs. If you think, oh, I want to use like Shadow Image, use it. You can. It's really up to you. So that's the general setup. Now I wanna show off some combos. Now in terms of mechanics, first off, Morak Tong, you see the 10% don't get applied to your first lethal arrow because you don't have a poison effect on the enemy yet. Now you can get the poison effect on the enemy by a light attack through the poison enchantment, but we will use lethal arrow twice in a row anyway. Now what else do you need to know? First off, there is a few important things. First of all, always make sure to buff yourself up with Rally and Relentless Focus, because those two are your long-term buffs. You see Rally 30 seconds and the Relentless Focus has like a 20 seconds buff time. Next up, Radiant Mage Light. The Empower buff only holds 5 seconds, so you need to be quick. Shadowy Disguise, when do we use this? So when we use this before we use a lethal arrow, the 3 seconds will be over till we hit the enemy, so it's not a good choice to use it at the start. I will show you in a sec like what combo you want to actually pull off, and this is without the aggressive Warhorn. Another thing, like you see he has 31k health, about 18k physical resistance, so it's a really, like in heavy armor, kinda really tanky with CP and all that dirty bullshit. Now what I do is buff myself, Mage Light, and rip. As you can see, like my two skills procced for 16.5k and 15.4k on a heavy armor person with like 18k resistance, so that's huge. Most people in Cyrodiil run around between 22 to 26k health with less resistance. And we didn't even use our ultimate yet. Now let's see what happens when we use our aggressive Warhorn. I buff myself up first. Now use the horn. Radiant, lethal, Shadowy Disguise. Almost 20k damage. That's huge with the aggressive horn. So you see, like, it really doesn't need a lot to actually gank somebody from a far distance, because lethal arrow, you see it has 40 meters range. You can't shoot it from so far. And then we have the bow passives, right? Where is it? This one. No. Here, the long shots. Gives you damage bonus of up to 12% against enemies at longer range. 40 meters. It's this here. So, like, I'm in such a safe distance. Like, the enemy has no chance of seeing me. You need to use your surroundings to your advantage. They basically can't break free before they are dead. And the Shadowy Disguise guarantees you a crit. That's a beautiful thing. But you need to use it after you shot the lethal arrow. It's really important. So that's the really safe way to actually kill somebody. If he had survived, I just cloak, goodbye. He can't fucking see me here, and with my speed pot, I'm long gone and I can reposition myself to wherever I want. That's the beauty of it. So I hope this small guide here helped you a little bit about how you actually should be ganking, and yeah, what stuff you should prioritize, because that's where most people actually fail. Again, I really recommend using this ulti. It's just so strong. So thank you for watching and happy hunting. Cheers.